freshly brewed. I just popped this bad boy out of the steamer.
You ever try it before?
SodaStream?
Yeah.
I've been drinking nothing but carbonated water since I bought that thing. Last week.
So you're an expert at this point.
Yeah.
Pro podcaster, pro soda streamer. What's next?
Pro alcoholic. Shall we?
I think you've already had that. You've already heard the other tab popped. Now you got this bad boy. Cheers, buddy.
Cheers.
First time we're filming on a Friday. We've only filmed 4 times, but...
Yeah, we haven't done a lot of Thirsty Thursdays.
Yeah, I mean, it's 40 Friday, and this says only 12 ounces on this. We're also not sponsored, so if you could just turn that the opposite way.
Well, it's like a small local winery, or meadery, rather. It seems like it wouldn't hurt to give them a shout-out, right?
It'll hurt us.
Okay.
We're lowering our value by just giving out free shout-outs.
Well, it's like a mom and pop. You think, maybe we toss them a bone.
I would love to have a mom and pa that work at a meadery, but I do currently love my mom and pa as well. And they are not meatists.
No? Are they elitist?
I hope not.
You think you know a guy?
You ever just pick up the can and put it right back on the table without taking a sip?
I thought you were reading the can.
I guess I was. But, you feel like you pick it up that you should at least take one quick...
Yeah.
Right?
Well, I always do. And in fact, usually I'll take a big swigs.
I love to contribute to the cans in your trash can after this.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, there's a pile of them. We're pretty much done now. I should probably recycle. Yeah, there's probably more room in that closet.
Which? Oh, yeah. To put something else in there?
I have like a really... It's not sketchy, but it looks like a pantry off the kitchen, but it's actually just for my water heater. And I kind of shoved a trash can in there awkwardly, and I can just put more things in there.
Water heater storages are just guaranteed to have no space in them, and it's the weirdest structured room in the house.
Yeah. Well, come to think of it, I didn't have one in my last place.
That you know of.
Yeah, well, yeah, it wasn't accessible, so it was just like hidden in a wall somewhere or whatever. Or maybe in the attic. That would probably make more sense because that one had an attic.
There are a couple layers to a bougie apartment, and that's non-visible water heaters and in-unit washer and dryer, and that's what you have in this apartment.
Okay.
But you also have a visible water heater now.
Yeah. I traded down a little bit. Do you have a visible water heater? This is a really exciting discussion, by the way.
Yeah, dude, that thing goes crazy, and every time I open that door, because we keep all of our cleaning supplies in it, one of our cats jumps on top of the water heater and goes behind it. We're like, get down from there. Fortunately, the broom is right there, so we can start swatting at the cat with the broom. Of course.
Nice.
Wait, all right. You say whack the cat with the broom. There's no way I'm getting any sort of swing in a water heater room. And this is why I think baseball bats are one of the worst defense mechanisms in a household.
We've had this conversation before. I think they're a fine mechanism. So your main argument is, not to put words in your mouth here, correct me if I'm wrong, but your argument is baseball bats are bad because when you swing in a doorway, it hits the doorway. Yeah.
Or if you go into that hallway right there. I mean, my shoulders, like if 2 of me were standing next to each other, I wouldn't fit in that hallway. I'm not swinging a baseball bat in there.
All right. Yeah, I guess in my hallway, you wouldn't really be able to get a full swing. Maybe if you really choked up on it and you went over the head. Mm-hmm. So it's not the best weapon of choice.
I feel like your fists would do more at that point.
Maybe, but if you're trying to create distance, you can at least poke them with it.
Get a pool cue. Yeah. I mean, everyone should get pool cues or rapiers, the little swords.
That's a deep pool. I think
you watched Wednesday. You should know
I watched Wednesday. Also, I think it's a weapon in RuneScape, if I'm not mistaken. So I'm familiar with the type of sword. But it's a little bit better than a knife in that it has a lot more range. So if you're trying to get distance, whereas a knife, you're really gonna have some training or something.
Well, if you're talking about RuneScape, we're talking about the real world here.
No, I'm talking about the real world. So baseball bat versus knife is what I'm saying. Mm-hmm. Which one are you putting on your bed? You're saying knife for sure.
No, that was my the original argument was I understand why people prefer guns.
Okay, well,
but I don't think they think of it as deeply as I do.
Yeah, well,
I'm trying to get the brass knucks underneath my mattress.
That's not bad. Although if you get hit first, you're bringing yourself down to a hand level, and I think if I'm breaking into somebody's house, I'm bringing something with me. I'm not just bringing my 2 guns, i.e. my
your what?
Arms. I'm thinking the word arms.
Just the arms, leaving the fists in the car.
Yeah, I'm bringing more than my arms. Okay, I'm bringing a knife. I'm bringing guns.
What are you gonna put them in a chokehold and noogie them?
Yeah, that's not gonna work. They're probably gonna have more than that just under their bed. So you gotta bring something.
Fire extinguisher would work pretty well. You ever spray one of those?
Oh, you're talking about spraying it. Okay,
Yeah,
I thought
yeah.
you meant swinging it. I was like, that's the same as a baseball
spray that
bat.
thing.
Spray
It's
it?
just all chemicals, and you
I don't
just
think
get
so.
choked up.
I think I would. If I'm the bad guy breaking into your house and you spray me with a fire extinguisher, I'm just kind of closing my eyes for a second and then going at you with a knife. You're donezo. And now the place is a mess.
It's
So it's
definitely
a
a
double
mess.
loss.
It takes a while. I've lit a fire in the house, used a fire extinguisher, and that's the only reason I think it'd be a good defense mechanism. It's because I have experience with it
You've also lit a fire in the house?
on accident.
Is this the time where...
You don't you don't got to get into
There's
it.
multiple times. Got it.
Yeah.
So you can't be trusted around fire. What are we doing here?
Unfortunately, this isn't a defense podcast.
Okay, we
This-
do have a lot of experience. It sounds like.
This is a podcast called Real View, where we review reality TV shows from all sorts of eras, from modern day to the past. We discuss if they're real, and we just discuss also if they're worth the watch in general.
And today we got one that's very similarly named to our podcast. It's called The Real World. Or Real World? Not the. There isn't. Is there a the? The?
The Real World.
Did you say the or the?
In the
Okay.
I think it depends on what. I would say the apple and not the apple.
Yeah.
But anyways, the Real View boys are going to discuss the real world.
The Real World boys. Well, we can talk about all of them.
The Real View dudes. The real dudes discuss the real world.
Sorry, my dog's throwing up right next to us. I think she's gonna be okay.
Okay.
You good?
It's all right. The intro's running right now anyway.
Okay, perfect. So this has been, out of all the shows we've watched so far, this has been the most entertaining to me right off the bat.
Off the bat.
Off the bat, when I first started watching it, so first of all, I started watching it not because we decided on watching it, but just because I was scrolling past and I was like, oh, I've heard of this.
Mm-hmm.
People have referenced it in pop culture before. I should check this out. And halfway through the first episode, I was like, this is great. I can't wait to watch more. So this has been most entertaining out of all of them, for sure.
Have you watched every episode?
So there's like 28 seasons of this show, or 23.
Oh, yeah.
So definitely not even close to every episode, but I haven't even watched every episode of that season. I started slowing down.
You did watch season 23, right?
I think I watched season 1.
Season 1?
Yeah.
Portland?
Uh,
There's only one season on Netflix.
Okay, that's the one I watched.
Okay, it has Johnny, Avery.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
That's
we're
season
watching-
23?
Yeah, season
Okay,
23.
jeez.
I do have a question about season 1 in the true or false, though.
Oh, okay.
Because you seemed amped on this, so I figured you watched more than me. But I watched 6 episodes, watched the last episode, and then watched the reunion.
Okay, you watched more than me.
Okay.
I was so amped on this show. I gobbled up that first episode. I didn't have time to watch it for like a couple days. Got back, watched like 2 more, and I was like, oh, I'm not in love with this as much as I thought I was, or just like as entertained.
For context, they're arguing about the same thing on episode 12 that they started on episode 6.
Okay.
So I was like, I didn't miss out on much.
Yeah, I think, honestly, I think you might have ruined it for me a little bit. Because we were talking about it, and I was like, oh yeah, I kind of enjoy it. And you're like, oh yeah, I got a little bit farther than you, and I can already tell this thing's like really fake. And like I looked up things that they did this and that, and I was like, oh man, yeah, I guess so. And so I started watching it with that lens, and I was like, damn, this show the whole thing seems kind of fake.
Yeah, it's definitely the editing tricks. Once again, they cut specific parts out because, for example, there's like an email that says something like that makes you think one of the characters is cheating on the show, but the rest of the email clearly explains that it's just a friend from home, not like a girlfriend from home, that they just don't even mention until like 3 episodes later. So,
Yeah.
but the synopsis of the show is essentially they get, I think it's 8. They try to get 8 mid-20s, early 20s, usually single people, and they make them all live in a house. They make them get jobs, and basically they just drink and party every single night.
It's very low concept. Like, they explain the show in the intro every time, and they're like, we're just 8 strangers living in a house together, and after a while, when people stop being nice, it's when it gets real. And I'm like, so there is no concept. You're just in a house together.
Which makes it, the whole fake idea is very possible, or almost very clear, because there's no way that they get all of this entertaining stuff. But they're there for a couple months, and there's only 12 episodes. So.
Yeah. I mean, maybe, though, because I guess to compare it to something, I have worked at a camp for 5 years, and it's a similar concept. You go somewhere and you live with a bunch of strangers for 3 months straight. Mm-hmm. You hardly leave. You get like 1 day off a week, and you'll go out with those same people and go somewhere, and then you come back. So it's a similar thing, and there's a ton of drama.
Oh, for sure.
At camp. Like, all you talk about is other people, like, constantly. So, I mean, I don't think that it's necessarily a fabricated environment based off of that. I think that's really easy to start talking about other people when you're just trapped with them all the time.
Mm-hmm. I don't think it'll be as entertaining for a show, though. I mean, maybe you're just a drama magnet, because in my personal experience, if I was there, I would just kind of keep myself isolated from people that I have problems with, which would just make me not good for television.
Yeah.
But all of these people have strong personalities on this show.
Yeah, you'd think so. And it's interesting that you say that, because there's that one girl, I think her name was Lynn, maybe? I can't remember her name, and there's a reason I can't remember it. It's because they never showed her. And like episode 2, she's like, calls her mom. She's like, yeah, I don't think this is for me. I'm going to go home. Joy. And it's like the first time you ever see her. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, oh, she wasn't entertaining, and they gave her the boot, and now she's leaving. That's what it seemed like to me anyways.
I guess she just didn't like the experience and didn't... Oh, no. She graduated college and immediately went to this show. Mm-hmm. And they were forcing her to go choose between either working at a pizza shop or an ice cream parlor. Mm-hmm. And she was like, I did not get a college education to do that.
Yeah. I guess that could have been like a genuine excuse. But also, she wasn't featured in like any of the episodes, because I guess she didn't cause any drama. She was probably just like along for the ride, hanging out and having casual conversations with people.
She also just, in her intro, she describes herself as tall. And her personality is that she's tall, and she's like 5'9", and then immediately a 5'11" model comes in through the door in high heels, and she's just brought down off of her high horse right away.
Wow, I didn't catch that at all. I didn't remember her saying that she was tall, but I did remember the model saying that she was 5'11" and then walking in with like stilettos. Mm-hmm. And I was like, what the heck? This is a power move for sure.
Let's see if I can get everyone's name. So we have Johnny, Avery, Jordan, Marlon, Joy, and then she's eventually replaced by a girl named Nia, Jessica, and there's one more that I'm forgetting. I think Anastasia. I don't think I said
Anastasia.
her. Anastasia's
Bird,
the
right?
model. Bird, yeah.
Yeah, they call her Bird. She's like a tall model that has really outdated makeup all the time.
All of them are single besides Anastasia. She has a boyfriend at home, so...
On paper.
Yeah, on paper. She's always talking about him. But these people are just always flirting with each other, always going out trying to get dates. Well, the guys are, at least. And then chaos ensues.
Yeah. I don't know, though. I think... So, at first, it was kind of ruined by you saying that you didn't think it was real, and like you had some reasons. And I think for sure, like, some of it's scripted, and sure they film things certain ways and tell certain stories to make it more entertaining. But I think a lot of these like conflicts are definitely real feeling. Mm-hmm. Like these petty conflicts that they have in between each other, and how certain people don't like other people for basically no reason. They just like get on each other's nerves. It's like so. It's inevitable to happen when you put people in a space like that. Mm-hmm. I've definitely seen that a lot with camp, but also just like, with siblings or in school or whatever, in places where people are forced to be next to each other.
The one guy, Jordan, seems to cause every single conflict possible. And I think that's where it could be more realistic, mm-hmm. is that you just have one problem child and it just lights the fuse on everybody in the environment.
Yeah. Like you said, Jordan's like the annoying one. Mm-hmm. Everybody's on him all the time. He's pretty rude generally, and it's kind of like a know-it-all kind of guy. But it's interesting because they'll all talk shit about him all the time, and then there'll just be scenes like they're all just like the guys are just talking. And he's just like clearly in the group having a conversation with everybody else, and nobody seems annoyed that he's there. Mm-hmm. But then they'll go, talk shit about him all the time. Supposedly, or it seems like it's all the time, but I think they probably use those scenes more than anything else. 'Cause it's more entertaining.
And I will say, just from what I've seen, spoilers, it seems like Jordan has a redemption arc. Okay. I skipped that 7 to 11 episodes, but like at the end, they're all cool with Jordan. And really? they eventually, the Nia girl who comes in ends up being the primary problem child after that. And her whole spiel is that she wants to flirt with Jordan as much as possible so that she can just like say no to him and make him feel like just defeated by the fact that somebody denied him. He's very cocky. He runs every single morning and he has one hand, and that's like all of his character traits that you see through the whole season.
Yeah. What was that girl's name that you said ended up being the problem child?
Nia. She swaps Joy. Immediately she calls in and she has this southern accent, and for some reason the one girl on the phone says, "What's your ethnicity?" She tells her white, and then she turns out to be black, not from the South, so she just has like a regular accent. I don't really know how to describe it, but
yeah, it's definitely not heavy Southern. And when she was on the phone, I was like, that sounds like an old Southern lady. Mm-hmm. It didn't really sound like someone that would be joining the show. I'm like, oh, because she was doing a fake accent. Mm-hmm. But she's the worst, man. Yeah, I instantly hated her. Mm-hmm. Like, she just like came in and I don't know, she's just doing like all this weird stuff, and I don't even know how to describe like what she did to Jordan on like the first night. Oh, like, that was
how to describe it for
I really don't want to.
for the children watching.
I really don't want to.
Okay, so I mean, I'll try to describe it in as PG of a way possible. Essentially, she thinks that Jordan is compensating for something with all of his annoyance and just this "I'm the best" syndrome that he provides to the group. Yeah. So she offers to perform a sexual act for him. Dude, I'm sweating over here.
Just in front of everybody.
In front of everybody on the pool table in the rec room.
Yeah, she's like, I want to do this, but it has to be in front of everybody. And it's like a weird game of chicken where she's trying to get him to say no, but he won't say no. He keeps saying, yeah, let's do it. And he's like on the pool table, and she like keeps trying to get him to say no, and he won't. And she like keeps trying to bring him in front of people. It's like the most cringy and like awkward scene. In the end, they don't end up doing anything because she never planned on doing anything. She was just trying to like embarrass him and like get him to like back down in this weird game of chicken. But like it was so like, you're like, this is the worst scene I could have watched possibly, and they're just it's so cringy.
In general, the show makes me very uncomfortable. Yeah.
I wouldn't say it. What other parts made you super uncomfortable?
Other things that I don't like about the show would be it's older, okay? So there some pretty open homophobia at points. I want to
talk to you about this. Yeah.
And then, of course, just moments where like she's on the phone, she's like, "What's your ethnicity?" Earlier on in the show, they're just like, "I really wish we had a gay guy here." All these very specific things that really don't affect how you interact with people.
Yeah, I mean, the thing about wanting a gay guy there was kind of a weird, strange thing to say, I guess. Mm-hmm. But I didn't really notice a lot of homophobia. It was interesting. So I heard your remark, and then I went in and watched that same episode, and I was like, so one of the guys, what's that guy's name? Marlon comes out as, not as gay. He made that very clear, but he like had sex with the guy previously and then decided that he was not gay. And he like tells everybody this, and then the new girl comes in and he decides to tell her. I don't know why he's being like super open with everybody and TV, but
he opens up to her that night that she comes instantly. There.
Like, "Hey, yo, what's up? I had sex with a dude.
She goes, yo, me too.
Something you should know about me. And I don't do that anymore, just to be very clear. I'm like, all right.
Yeah, moments like that, because I'm pretty sure he is like, but I don't do that anymore. And
kind of, but I mean, that's just like... maybe he doesn't, you know? I don't know. I didn't really see a lot of, like, homophobia. And nobody was like, oh, I don't want to hang out with that guy anymore. They're like, oh, that was cool that he opened up about that. And that's pretty much all I saw with that. It's
just, they got, like, really weird with him after that.
You think so?
They, in that specific episode, I mean, as things grow, I think that he's somebody that they relate to the most. Like, I think he starts off kind of weird because... he brings home girls and then calls them like ugly and stuff and kicks them out.
That was really weird.
He does like pretty mean stuff, but then as time goes on, you see he's more of the down to earth kind of guy in the house that everyone comes to and they feel comfortable with. But that episode, everybody just saw him as this gay guy and they just only wanted to talk to him about his gay experiences, which just felt weird. And they were just kind of like, they've never seen a gay guy before. And it was just a unicorn sighting. And they were like, what was it like? They asked what race the other guy was, if he was older, younger, all that stuff.
I mean, I'd say they're being intrusive. But, I mean, he was also super open and he's the one that brought it up in the first place. Mm-hmm. So, I don't know.
I guess it's his fault.
Plus, this is like 20 years ago. So, I feel like people were a lot less open then.
Mm-hmm.
So... to have somebody in front of you that's being open about it, maybe you would be more curious than you are now.
That's the producer being like, remember the thing you told us in the interview? And like poking at him, like, say it now in front of everybody.
Yeah. That was interesting that he did, especially whenever this show was released.
Mm-hmm. So they end up living there and for like the first couple episodes, just regular, going out to bars all the time, and then they're forced to get jobs. Mm-hmm. So like I said before, they have to go to either this ice cream parlor or this pizza place. And I think two of them go to the ice cream parlor. You never see the ice cream parlor in the future. Nothing goes on. It's Anastasia and Jessica go there. They don't cause any problems by themselves, at least.
Yeah.
You never see them working a day. You see everybody else who decided to go to the pizza parlor, you see their workplace all the time. Yeah. And I can't imagine a pizza place hiring 5 new employees and allowing a camera crew to be there all the time.
Yeah. I mean, I guess the only reason is like, well, now it's on Netflix and however many people saw that and they're going to be like, oh, that's that pizza place. If we ever go there, like to Portland, we should check that place out and see it. So maybe that helped them out. But yeah, that's definitely caused a lot of chaos for them.
Pizza Schmiza.
Is that what it's called?
That's what it's called. So go check it out.
We're giving them a free plug now?
We're giving the real world.
Meadery. It's a Mead Rita by Idawa Meadery. It's pretty good.
Did you pronounce any of it right?
I don't know. I gave it my best shot.
But on their first day of work, they all they work the whole shift, and then once they're off, they use their entire paycheck to just drink.
Yeah, they drink at the pizza place, and then they have sex in the bathroom. And I was like, huh.
One true or false ruined.
I was like, huh. That's interesting that they just got away with that. And he was like bragging about it loudly, and his boss was sitting like right behind him. And I was like, okay, this lady's like already like accepted the fact that crazy stuff's gonna happen, and she's not hiring them to be reliable employees. She's hiring them to get some eyes on a restaurant, which is fine. Mm-hmm. But
it also seems like they do work pretty well there.
Do they?
Yeah, besides when they're off shift. But I mean, Jordan in the professional setting, he's a good worker. Like, I mean, if you run every morning, you got to be a hard worker, right?
Got to be rock hard, baby.
He's always bringing up things like, oh, the dog gets bit by another dog. Okay, the 8th character in this show is a dog named Daisy. Yeah. I think that's a thing I should have preface before. Avery brings in a dog named Daisy, and everyone's obsessed with this dog. The dog gets attacked at a park, and it's bleeding from its ear.
Jeez.
And Jordan's like, just put some staples in it. That's what my dad would do. They take it to the vet. They put 2 staples in the dog, and he's like, I told you we should have done it.
That's so perfect, because my immediate reaction was like, what the hell? Don't let this guy anywhere near a dog ever again. And they put 2 staples in it. That's pretty funny.
He's always bringing up things about his dad, just like doing what today would be just considered domestic abuse, but he's like, it toughened me up.
Yeah, it was like pretty alarming, a lot of the things he said, and he brought him up a lot. I'm like, you're thinking about your dad a lot. I think you got some trauma you need to sort out there, buddy.
And you want to hate him so bad, but he's so good at wakeboarding.
I did see that, yeah. He was pulling some backflips wakeboarding, and everybody was like, damn, I wanted him to fail.
And that's what I think is fake about the show, is they always plan it out so that they say, like, Johnny at one point is like, we're going to all go-karting. And we've been thinking about doing that for a while now. But it's definitely the producers being like, here's all the money you need, go-karting. They learn how to snowboard from, like, professional snowboarders. It's not like Johnny was good friends with Matt Hoffman and they learned how to BMX bike with him or something. Yeah. It's because it's on MTV. They have all these connections. You said the pizza place is getting publicity off of it. They're just getting put into these opportunities because it's entertaining and they have the money for it. It's season 23. This show is doing well.
I wouldn't say that makes it fake, though. I would just say that's like the opportunity of the show.
Well, I guess the whole idea behind it is this is what the real world is like.
Oh.
You can just go snowboarding and get drunk after your shift. And
I mean, you can. Yeah. But, I mean, I guess I see what you're saying. Yeah, they have connections and they set these kinds of things up for them. And they could have set it up themselves, but the odds of them setting up something entertaining probably is lower.
Yeah, it seems like they live on a party street, so the chances of them leaving that street half the time with how much these people drink, it's rare.
Probably pretty low. So what are you giving this show out of 10? After you've watched 6 episodes and the finale of season 23?
I think if it was shrunk down into 6 episodes, I can give it closer to like a 7 out of 10. But some of these things just drag on way too long, and it's just so annoying. Like, I had to skip forward 10 minutes just to find out they're still on the same topic. And then obviously 6 episodes, and they were still on the same topic. So I'm giving it like a 4 out of 10.
Really? I think that's what my past 2 ratings have been. Or how many shows?
You gave 100 Humans a 2 out of 10. You hated the hosts so much.
I hated how the hosts acted. I think when they weren't given lines, they were actually pretty funny. But yeah, that was tough. For this show, I like I said, I enjoyed it at first. I think there's a lot of cringe to it, and if you enjoy that kind of stuff, you'd like it. Also, I think the characters are a little unique. Maybe it's more about the way people act or the way the people I'm around act today versus how they used to, or like those. I haven't been friends with those kind of people. So all these personalities to me were pretty unique. They kind of have interesting personalities that people I interact with, they wouldn't really act this way. So that kind of makes it entertaining, and they stay true to their personalities generally throughout the show. So I think it's enjoyable. I would give it a 7 out of 10.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you also only watched a few episodes.
I watched like 4 or 5.
It loses its touch. I think if I just watched the 4 out of 5, then I could give it a higher rating. I personally just cringe anytime I see fights like that. That's why I think I would be a bad piece of the show, because my fights aren't very loud and I need to be louder than you, or yelling fights and stuff. I would just be like, hey, could you clean up one of your 10 Subway sandwiches from the refrigerator? Because they make it pretty obvious this show is sponsored by Subway.
Oh, really?
But yeah, they always are eating there. So the yelling fights just make me want to just fast forward through it just to see what happens.
I mean, I think I would get in yelling fights with people after a while. I never really have. Now that I think about it, even like being trapped at camp for a while, I don't think I've gotten yelling fights. I've definitely gotten like disagreements with people and had to have like dramatized conversations that would definitely be like TV worthy, but I haven't had like yelling fights, I guess. But yeah, I would definitely say like the first episode, I'd give that like an 8 or 9 out of 10, and they slowly go down. It's like a sliding scale, kind of like you said. Like if it was shorter, it would be better, because it does starts to be kind of the same thing. There's a little bit of character progression, but it's minor because they're people and they don't change all that much.
I think the most fun thing about the show is watching everybody on that first episode and trying to predict who you're going to like by the end of the season.
Yeah.
It's similar to when I moved in with 3 friends in like a house back in Pennsylvania. It was my first time living outside of my parents' house, and I wanted us all to record essentially a confessional. We're at the beginning, like first day moving in, predicting who we're going to like by the end of it, and then record again on the last day of us living there and see how our opinions changed of each other.
Did you do it?
No, I didn't end up doing it because
Okay.
I wanted to move there because I thought it would be like a content house thing, and then I was the only one that wanted to make content. So, but it is fun to watch everybody in the introduction because, I mean, Johnny, he just seems like such a misogynistic guy right off the bat. He's like walking in front of the girl at the airport, like proving his dominance right away. But then he turns out to be the only guy with a girlfriend by the end of the show.
Yeah, Johnny is quite he was really I don't know what the word is, maybe neurotic at the beginning. Like he just constantly says like every thought that pops into his head like as quickly as he possibly can. Mm-hmm. And just like keeps talking nonstop, and that worked for him. But yeah, he's something. He turns out to be a decent character. Mm-hmm. That's interesting what you said about your friends. I just imagine that who's recording these confessionals then? You just like leave the camera rolling and it's just one person in the room? That was the idea? The
idea was, we record, go in for like 5 minutes, say like, for example, my friend Nate, and be like, I'm really close friends with Nate. And then we would cut to me next year and being like, I hated Nate.
Yeah.
He was the worst roommate possible.
So what if you're like talking shit about Nate at the beginning though? Who gets to hold that footage? Like, is everybody holding their own footage?
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's the problem. You hold all the footage.
I would time capsule it. I would put the SD card in our backyard under some dirt and then dig it back out, hopefully find it.
Yeah.
Hopefully not use a micro SD card.
That would be funny. You pop it out, you're like editing it, and everybody's just talking shit about you. Man, that Aaron guy, I can't believe we even let him in. He's making us do this shit.
After that place and what I did for them, they better not be talking shit about me.
Well, that was just the beginning. Then at the end, they're like, oh man, I forgot about this time capsule thing. This is wild. Yeah, no, Aaron's all right. I can't remember what I said about him though.
That was the one thing the real world was missing, and that's arguments about rent, because they clearly didn't pay rent while they were there.
Oh, for sure.
I think that would be the number one thing that would be discussed if they had to pay rent on that show.
Yeah, no, I don't think they had to pay for anything. And no. I mean, the money they got, they immediately spent it like at the place. Mm-hmm. They're like, oh, we finally got money. Let's just spend it. But like groceries and rent and all that, I assume it's paid.
They'd be done with their shift at the pizza place, and they'd have $20. They're like, that's 5 shots. They just immediately took them.
That's $4 jack shots right there, baby.
Shout outs to Wednesday nights trivia.
Yeah.
All right. You think it's about true or false time?
Hit me. I got you. I re-listened to the episode, and I realized I got like 3 out of 4 last week.
Okay. Good work.
I think you changed one of them because I got it right by guessing before you even said it.
Yeah, but you were also right because you chose the right answer.
Yeah.
Because you swapped it.
Right.
Yeah.
So if you count that one as double right, I got 4 out of 5, which is pretty good.
I mean, you could always be double right. It's true or false. It's 50-50. That's a 25% chance you're double right.
If I...
1 over 2, 1 over 2.
Okay. No. I get that part. But you... Okay. So I guess before and then I guess after. That's how I can be double right. Yeah. I think I'll just let you read them this time.
All right. Well, I got to come up with some in my mind, so...
Okay.
I'll figure it out.
You didn't write them down?
I have them written down, but we discussed some of them.
So now you got to scrap them.
The difficulty is, sometimes you do the assignment where you watch the show, so my true or false are difficult to create because they're not really difficult. All right. Nia, the new roommate, is hesitant to tell her roommates about her weird habit, biting her toenails.
False. Her habit is sucking her thumb.
Correct.
Which is... Do you think that's real? Do you think that's actually a thing that she does?
Based off what she wanted to do to Jordan on the first interaction of them together, I believe she sucks her thumb.
She's got what's it? Audiophagia tendencies? Something like that.
Okay. Yeah, those words.
Okay.
Those are words. A couple lands a job at a pizza pub
Yeah.
and has sex in the bathroom on their first day.
True. I might have spoiled that one earlier. Yeah, that's an interesting one. And they left their audio on, which was nice for the audience there. No further comment.
Okay, cool. They do not have cameras in the bathroom, just so you know. They just have the door and everyone giggling at them like they're back in high school.
Yeah.
Oh, and the boss sitting right there at the table, and they're like, they're having sex in the bathroom.
Yeah, and she's just like doing paperwork, like she's not paying attention to anything.
Is that how you do paperwork? For anybody listening, he is typing on a keyboard.
One of these numbers. Yeah, just a little bit of paperwork.
The one-handed Jordan is sick at wakeboarding. I believe those are my exact words earlier.
Yeah. I think you might have spoiled that one. Yeah, he's pretty sick.
Two of the show's women are put on the kiss cam at a hockey game. As they lean in for a kiss, two guys stand up in front of the camera and kiss instead.
I didn't see this part. I'm going to go with false.
Yes, it was a tweet that I saw. I had the real world on one monitor and then Twitter on the other because I was so bored of real world that I switched to watch Twitter. I shut off the show twice while watching it for this podcast.
Okay, that's a true or false that I couldn't possibly know. Okay, usually it's about the show, and if I watched enough of it, I would get it right. Shut it off twice?
Yeah.
No, more than that.
I didn't even shut it off once.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I skipped, fast forwarded, and I rewound sometimes too because I didn't know what was going on. But
so you just watched it nonstop? What do you mean you never shut it off?
Like mid-show, like turn it off because I was annoyed of it. Yeah.
Okay. Interesting.
Okay. The biggest fight of all real-world history was on this season.
That's pretty qualitative, but I would say no.
That was said by the host of the reunion.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What was the fight?
Let me just make another one real quick.
Okay.
The fight was based off of Daisy pooping in the confessional.
Okay, I saw Daisy pooping in the confessional, so I know that happened. I don't remember there being a fight about it, though. I think that's the episode I finished on. Like the end credits were like Daisy pooping in the confessional room. Shoot. I'll say true. That's what the fight was about.
It is true, but it's like time number 3 or 4 that Daisy poops in the confessional.
Okay.
Nia steps in it, and then Johnny and Avery are upset at her for not cleaning it up. So Johnny goes into the bathroom while Nia's fixing her hair and just pours an energy drink on her, and she grabs him by the head and starts punching him in the back of the skull while he's just like holding his head. And then she follows him with a hairdryer and smacks him across the face with the hairdryer, and then Avery and Nia just get into a fist fight.
Okay, so she's just like assaulting people at this point.
Mm-hmm.
That energy drink was probably not a smart move, but then I don't think you can respond with assault. It seems like a lot. Jeez, that's violent.
Yeah.
I believe it to be the biggest fight now. I hope so.
All right, and I have one more thing. On a previous season, the whole cast worked for a television network. Everyone was interviewed about what inspires them, and they piece it all together into a video, besides one guy who decides to sing an original piece for the the video.
This is so specific. I want to say it's true because it's specific, but you did say you're going to make an effort to make things extra detailed that are false. So I'm going to say false.
Oh, this is true. And I loved it. I was just looking up other real world stuff just because we only watched one season of it for this true or false. And they're all working at a TV studio. They're all talking about what inspires them to work at the TV studio. And then this cuts to the one guy. He's just singing in the studio like he's making a mixtape. And everyone's like, what the hell is he doing? Tell him to redo it. And they're like, he wants it.
Nice. I like it.
I would say that this show is 30% real.
Really? I would give it like twice that.
60%?
I would say like 60 to 70% real. There's definitely stuff that the studio interjects to make it more entertaining, but a lot of like the petty fights and the conversations and the stuff they lead to seems real, like the ridiculous stuff they come up with. Like especially, I feel like the stuff Nia was doing was real.
Mm-hmm.
Because everybody around her was cringing and like trying to like escape the situation. Like, what the hell is going on? It didn't feel like it was acted out.
Anytime you think that she couldn't be that bad, it cuts to her in the confessional being like, I am the queen, I rule everything, and what I say goes. You're like,
yeah,
okay.
Yeah, if it is real, she's a pretty terrible person. She like talks about how good she is at manipulating people.
Mm-hmm.
Like
that is her only goal.
Yeah, it's a little scary that there's people out there like that. So we got lyrics now. We on to our final segment.
Yes, we are on to our final
The lyrics
segment.
that you wrote, they're on your phone right now?
Yeah, I'm typing out right now as we speak.
Okay, you just thought of a new bar?
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, as long as you lay down the proper beat this time.
Oh, man, I could not.
Last time you screwed me.
I could not lay down the beat. I tried thrice over, I believe, and I could not get her done. It's too good. The rhymes were too good. It's hitting me.
You said the rhymes?
Yeah.
That's crazy. I was reading the word rhino as you said the rhymes, and I thought you said rhino. I was like, dude, you're
There's
really
no
in my
way.
head right now.
Bro, I can see your phone's reflection in my eyes.
Okay.
Your eyes? Never mind. Go ahead.
Is this a lyric? Well, it's baffling that my ears can bleed when I see your domestic thighs.
All right. Well, unlike last week, I think this bar is terrible. Last week, I was like, man, this is so good. It has to be real. And now it wasn't. And this week, I'm thinking this is so bad. I don't even know what that means. I don't know what it means if it's really bad. When I see your domestic thighs? What does that even mean?
Domestic thighs?
How can you have domestic thighs?
How can you have indigenous? Is that the opposite of
International?
domestic and international thighs? That would have been good.
Domestic thighs. When I see your... This is... So, I don't think that you would have come up with domestic thighs because I don't think it makes any sense. I'm going to say it's real.
That is real.
Boom! Got him.
The song title is Pounce Bounce.
Pounce Bounce. I like the title. It's catchy.
You can add that to your card game.
Yeah.
You can play Pounce and then Bounce.
I mean, that's usually what I do.
Okay. So this is where we are. We've reached the end of the podcast.
This is the end of the podcast. And I kind of left some empty air there because I was wondering if you were going to close out the podcast and kind of get over your fear of saying goodbye to things. Or if
Well, I'm usually a see ya guy. And that's why I don't say bye because I don't want to, have a terminal ending.
Okay.
I want to lead you into a potential that we're going to see each other again.
You want to lead people on. Got it.
I love leading people on.
Thanks
It's
for
my
listening.
past way.
Thanks for listening, everybody. This episode will come out Monday, just like they come out every Monday. Peace.
See you later.
Got him.
Make sure to like, follow, and subscribe to our podcast. Share with your friends. Share to your local meadery. We'll drink their mead on our next episode.
Yeah, or if you own a meadery, you can shout them out, and we'll buy it and we'll drink it on air.
We'll buy it.
Peace.